First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you can never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello.
Braden Herrington here with John Pollock for Up Next. That's right. My British Canadian counterpart is off back in Nam somewhere. But don't worry. I've made a hot tag to the head honcho, someone who isn't afraid of the grind, someone who will stand and deliver with me. Hello, Mr. John Pollock. How are you?
A happy Easter to you, Braden Herrington. If we are wishing pleasantries to each other on a religious scale, it's good to be here for Stand and Deliver. Did this show stand? Did this show deliver? We're gonna find out, aren't we?
Yeah, is it a happy Easter? Is it an NXT Passover? We'll see. But we're here to.
It is the brand that was passed over this year, I think, in WrestleMania build. Here we are.
Yes. Well, NXT Stand and Deliver 2026. It is no longer part of the WrestleMania weekend, so it gives us a little breathing room before we get to WrestleMania. I know that definitely it added a lot of like ease for us because we do like WrestleMania parties in the city and trying to watch something in the middle of the day and then rush some other places. And I'm sure same goes with you. You don't watch enough wrestling as is, so I like having this weekend separate.
Yeah, I mean, for people in Las Vegas, I mean, this sure beats like a 9 a.m. show or whatever time it would have ended up being. Like last year, it was very complicated with it being a West Coast show on top of it. I can see the arguments for and against of doing this show on its own weekend. But I think like the sacrifice is that, I don't know, maybe you had a different feel. Like tonight never to me felt like this is the biggest show of the year. And some of that is when you're part of that whole WrestleMania scene. It's the biggest crowd of the year. Like we can get into this later. Like quite frankly, I felt like this past Tuesday show felt like the big show this week, like going there next to Madison Square Garden. It was a hotter crowd overall. But it's also, this would have been a show completely lost in the madness of Mania weekend as well.
Yeah, I think it's too much. Like I know the WrestleMania 40 weekend, we all went to it, and I dragged the corpse of myself to make like the 12 p.m. time, knowing I was going to go to WrestleMania later that night. It adds a lot more. Like, okay, this is a longer day. Now, I like having the separate weekend, but I felt the same too. It didn't feel like this biggest show of the year. But I think NXT, we are in this weird like rebuilding phase still. Like a lot of the shows don't feel as big.
We're going into phase 3 under Tony
phase
D'Angelo.
3 coming soon on Tuesday. Phase 3, yeah. But this phase 2 of the rebuilding of NXT, and whenever we lose people to the main roster, it's always in that way. So yeah, you notice like the smaller venues and things like that. But I felt like MSG Theater on Tuesday could have totally been the place to do a Stand and Deliver as well.
It sort of felt like the big show to me. Like it was like it just had a super hot crowd. It had more people in attendance than it did tonight as well. But regardless, like they kind of had to sandwich all these shows together. Like we're coming off their last PLE only a month ago. They had to build to. You notice how like Roadblock just disappeared?
Yeah, I thought last week was supposed to be the Roadblock, but they quietly dropped that name, so we never called it that.
Maybe they're holding that one back for something bigger.
Roadblock. Bring it back, because it's supposed to be the road too, so it's a Roadblock. Yeah, NXT it's I don't want to say it's in this like it's sad estate or sad affairs right now, but it's in this weird thing where a lot of the people that get popular, it's developmental and they learn quick. We move you up pretty quick, and I feel like that's every time that happens when we reset, it's like, I don't know, it takes a lot for I feel like there's not as many WWE fans watching the NXT product, maybe like they kind of were more so a few years ago. But
I think it's a lot of factors that I think like AEW has had this upswing over the past number of months. I think that like certainly their television viewership has reflected that. I think that there is a lot of hours, obviously, that we talk about all of the time. And with NXT, yeah, it has just gotten plucked from, like, forget just Trick and Javon, but even going back, like, it wasn't that many months ago, like, Jordan Grace was on this brand as well. And, you know, you take out a lot of these familiar acts and you're following the WWE product, you're following AEW. And I don't know if NXT necessarily has that must-see act at the moment, or at least, as you mentioned, like, is in that transitional period. Like, maybe this is going to be a roster that kind of comes together in 6 months, but NXT is always going to be in this cycle where I think anyone that, like a Kendal Gray or a Sol Ruca, I'd be very surprised if a year from now we're talking about these two still at this NXT level as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of this show, right? Like, you want to see people get good and then go be a star on television, on Raw and SmackDown.
Like a Tony D'Angelo is sort of like an outlier. Like, you should probably not be in NXT for 4.5 years as he's been at this point. Like, those are the kind of performers that I think there's going to be fewer of them, just that you're going to be looking at people like in these 2-year cycles of, okay, what is the upside of this person? Are they main roster ready? And after 2 years, if the answer is no, I see them cutting ties with these performers.
Like, since the 2.0, the paint splatter era, they definitely, it seems they cut and move a bit more like precise. Like, they definitely like, okay, this isn't going to work. We're going to move away, release someone or contract ending or something. But that's the way this show should be. Like, developmental main stories should be on the main roster. Now, I mean, there sometimes isn't even main stories on those shows, but I mean, like, the characters should be doing the good stuff on the main roster. So I feel like that's something they've learned quickly. I feel like we think back, we're going to talk about Johnny Gargano making a return to not a NXT takeover, but like his return and how they were doing all the big storylines with him and Ciampa all those years ago in NXT. And then when they got to the main roster, it's like, oh, what's in the book of Johnny and Ciampa? And there wasn't a whole lot. So maybe doing it this way is the better way of NXT. And NXT now has its own developmental with Evolve. So there's levels to this, not only phases, but levels.
Levels, and all things in between that you get to watch here at the NXT level.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to talk about some NXT and everything from the show tonight, but how are you feeling after I know you make the hot tags here at Post Wrestling, and Mr. Ting was joined by a wonderful Neil, our man Neil, on Rewind to SmackDown. But how you feeling about Pat McAfee on SmackDown, John?
Well, yeah, the company's on fire. It's wrestling's very uncool at the moment. We can't sell tickets. Like, count me in. Like, what more could convince the viewer at home to be that they're missing out than by utilizing Pat McAfee to tell you how much this product sucks at the moment? I mean, it was a baffling angle for many reasons that I'm sure everyone has echoed at this point, 24 hours removed. They were able to erase last week as being the lowest rated SmackDown ever on Cage Match. And they have now replaced it with last night's episode. So, I mean, there's progression to be made, a record setting SmackDown on Friday night. What did you think about the segment?
Yeah, like I've definitely been pretty down on WWE in the last few months, but more specifically, like the last year, I just feel like creatively bankrupt, and I've not been enjoying you already did the Travis Scott stuff last year, and it really pissed me off, and I think a lot of fans. And then this year, there's just bless Jelly Roll, but on top of seeing him way too much on WWE programming and whatever that World Cup song is, I'm kind of jellied out. I'm a little like over the Jelly Roll. And then they brought in Pat, and it's like, okay, more celebrity involvement I know he's been part of the machine and everything, but I just felt it was so backwards. And then him cutting a promo on 5'5" wrestlers putting on 45-minute Iron Man matches every week. I'm like, is he talking about this show or is he talking about the other show? Because there's 5'5" guys wrestling on SmackDown every week for about like 14 minutes that go pretty well. And I think they'd be pretty pissed off maybe at a line like that. But I can't say this gets me more excited for WrestleMania. I feel like maybe he does the exact opposite. And then to have Cody try to do this, like, is the whole thing just to try to get Cody cheered again? I'm not sure. But telling us the product sucks is never a good look. And I hated it.
No, I mean, I think that's, you know, and this goes both ways. I thought it was a really dangerous game to be playing when MJF was doing the whole free agency bit, and that, you know, that he's using AEW to talk about moving to AEW, like, to throw that perception on your own program. I just think there's a track record of it being really terrible. And like, I just felt in that segment, like you took a lot of, I guess, you know, some negative sentiment that certainly is there toward the current WWE product, and you put it all into this promo by Pat McAfee and all of this heat on Cody Rhodes that I think is just a babyface that they take so many like shots toward. Like, part of this business turnaround has been the fact that they have had a solid top babyface, and it's fine if you want to talk about like turning this guy, but you better have that next babyface in line. And Randy Orton is not going to be that savior of a babyface that you're going to be able to build the company around for the next 5 years. You know, maybe that person is going to come around, but it's a real unique commodity they have in Cody Rhodes. I thought that segment was awful, and just a lot of the verbiage too. Like, I'm sorry, but like, the Attitude Era that was 25 years ago. Like, could you imagine, Braden, if you were like a fan at 12 years old and you're being told about stuff that happened in the early 70s? Like, there's an audience that's so detached from this at this point. And the ones that aren't are just like you've got that fan base. Like, those are your lifers that are never moving on. And to just be throwing things like the good old days of a quarter of a century ago that we're talking about, like this Attitude Era, it was just, and like Pat McAfee at the center of it all. I just don't think it was a detrimental promo for many reasons. And I have heard many people, like even those in the company, that really hated this for all the obvious reasons. But this is a Mania build where it's throwing so much against the wall. And yeah, even the idea of broadcasting our ticket woes on television, it does tell you just a certain degree of like madness that is dictating the promotion of this show. When, as much as there's a negative slant, like, business is still really solid for this company. Like, even like this year's Mania, if it's not the all-time biggest gate in the history of pro wrestling, it's going to be number 2 behind last year's. It's just because last year is the benchmark, and they have promised that this is going to be a year that TKO is going to hit another set of record profits, and WrestleMania is going to be a generator toward that goal. So internally, like, they have their mandate of what this show has to achieve, and you can see like the desperate tactics that they are taking to up this number that has basically stalled at 40,000 tickets each night, even at incredible pricing that they are selling these tickets at.
Like, it's expensive for everything. Looking at concerts, like, I can't for the life of me find reasonable priced Hillary Duff concerts, John. Getting concerts and wrestling tickets aside, but I mean, like, the WrestleMania prices are crazy, that I'm wondering if there's people who wait, like kind of like how some fans do, like the day of, the weekend of, or watch the ticket sales fluctuate and stuff. I just don't think Pat McAfee, who I genuinely think he's been fine in other things. I think back of all the way back to NXT with him and Adam Cole, like he's fine, but to have that as the main, like, you know, part of this story, and then have Pat come out and talk about the Attitude Era, which, I'm sorry, I'm like so overrated. I'm so sick of hearing about the Attitude Era by this point. You said it, over 25 years ago. Like, holy, like, let's talk more about the 2005 era of wrestling, the real best era. But like, Pat coming out and then quoting The Rock, doing the Stone Cold quotes. I was like, what is this? This is just playing to the most casual, not real wrestling fans. And that's what just reminds me of like, I'm not into what WWE has been shoveling to me as a fan for the last few months to the last year. And it just feels like it's not really pro wrestling. It's WWE and it's a whole lot different, but this did the opposite. I genuinely laughed when I first watched this when it was Pat. Now, was it because I thought it was going to be Ted DiBiase Jr.? I'm not sure, but just having Pat, like, I just went, what? And just started laughing uncontrollably. Like,
he's been booked for WrestleCon, by the way.
Ted DiBiase. I thought you meant Pat, but yeah, Ted DiBiase. How much do you think he's going to charge for a photo?
No comment.
Well, I don't know. Like, I just didn't think that was the best use of I figure Randy is like, hey, Cody, I want you to be evil like me. Talk to the voices in your head, yada, yada, yada. And then threaten to punt him or punt his wife or his dog or something. But instead, Pat McAfee's telling me that WWE sucks.
It's just it. I mean, it is what everyone sees here. It's like Pat McAfee is kind of being thrust upon them, and it's how do we utilize this? And he's playing a character. Like, again, it's just, we don't have to belabor the point, but it's also Pat McAfee that, like, his role has been the super fan. Like, that has been his role for all of these years in terms of his connection to WWE. It is, like, it's a totally preposterous role for you to even be casting Pat McAfee in, that all of a sudden the guy who's like breaking a sweat yeeting every Monday night on Raw is now the guy that is just shitting on this whole product. So, I mean, it was, you know, they got their reaction out of it, but I think it turned a lot of people off. And I think the bigger question is this something that's going to be ultimately blow up in Cody's face, that, you know, he is going to be sort of this avatar for everything this audience is pushing back towards, like this creative direction of WWE and where things are going. Like, it was an awful angle, and like, it's been pretty universally panned. So how do you pivot from that?
I just also loved him shouting out Disco Inferno and the irony of no one in that crowd reacting.
No one
because
popped for
they
the
don't
line.
know who that is. They're like, what is a Disco Inferno? But yeah,
it's like Eric Bischoff bringing up the scissors to Sid and thinking like it was going to be this big diss, and instead it was like, yeah, Disco Inferno is also somebody that is not in that. Like, we're talking like 12,000 people here in St. Louis, Missouri, and yeah, probably 85% of them probably have never encountered a Disco Inferno match in their life. I mean, it's beyond the point, but it's more indicative of like the idea that this term, like, this is going to be the punchline, is a Disco Inferno joke. And it really does tell you as well, like, just missing the, like, where your audience is at this point. And just because you're still steeped in that era of wrestling, a lot of your audience has moved on from then.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. And again, I genuinely laughed watching it, but we'll have to see what plays out with Pat McAfee. But yeah, sorry to pick your brain, but it's the big hot topic today. And I know absolutely that like people online are picking it apart and everything. But I looked up, it's one of the worst rated episodes of wrestling, but oddly enough, it's beaten by something.
Oh,
NXT. Okay, but maybe not the NXT era that we know. Let me take a look at this again. An NXT episode all the way dating back from 2010. So that means...
Is this when it was still the game show?
It's like the game show episode. So
Barrett and Danielson and company.
I don't know if that counts. And that episode of NXT is the lowest rated, and Heroes of Wrestling is still above that episode of SmackDown. So
where's SmackDown? It's
number 3 right now.
Of all time.
I feel like that's not, I don't know. There's been worse. It's probably been NXT episodes that I've hated more than.
I would say once you're in like the top 10 of worst shows overall, and then you're not the worst of all time, it's almost like you failed at that too. Like if you're going to be that bad, you want to be the worst of all time, don't you?
I don't know if it was that bad. You had the Miz doing DDT stuff with the ref, like the whole thing with the cursing and stuff. There's been way worse in the world of wrestling, but yeah. Pretty funny.
What about Lil Yachty? Are you on board for Lil Yachty and Trick?
Man, I thought at first I thought he was like uncomfortable because he didn't really do a good job of hyping up Trick, but then it was later that he seemed a bit more like into it a little bit. But I don't know. I've listened to his music a long time ago, but they'll get celebrities in any way, shape, or form. But I will say it's cool seeing Trick being on being featured as heavily and just being a big character that fast on the main roster. So I think it's cool that we have some celebrity involvement for that. What I don't think is cool is hopefully we have Carmelo involved in that match somehow, because I kind of feel bad.
I don't think we are.
Yeah.
I think that last night was your night to do it. I mean,
yeah, you
could throw him into that ladder match, but I mean, like the card's pretty locked at this point. And I would say like your big omissions at the moment would be Carmelo, Julia, Tiffany Stratton. Like outside of those three, I would say like your names that you would associate like landing a spot are pretty much on the card. Like Io's going to get her match. You've got this Usos and LA Knight trios match on the Raw side, and that's probably your show. So I mean, Carmelo could be one of those odd men out.
That's unfortunate because I know the US run was pretty good, and then he just drops it, and then it moved on pretty quickly. And then the story with him and Trick in the past, so I just feel kind of bad for him there if that's the case. And you're right, it does look like they would have done it on SmackDown if they were probably thinking of it. And yeah, put Lil Yachty in the match at this point. He has a better chance of getting on that than Carmelo. But yeah, I'm not as excited as some other people. I don't know. Maybe it's a feeling some people have of WrestleMania this year is not necessarily hitting for me the way I thought it would. But
what are you looking forward to that weekend?
I guess the actual fight between Brock and Oba, like I'm sure that will be some sort of spectacle, but I can't lie and say that I'm genuinely excited about it. Not really.
Are you going to be checking out like non-Mania stuff that weekend?
I'm definitely more so in tune with that. Like that's definitely more my speed right now, where I'm seeing all these other, like the Indies WrestleMania weekend is so much fun. And I know the Indies is different from what it was years ago with like AEW and WWE and stuff, but I'm happy to see that this WrestleMania weekend looks like it's thriving. And it's yet again that Mark Hitchcock Memorial Show.
The Hitchcock show looks awesome. Bloodsport looks great. I think Spring Break's really interesting this year.
Yeah, Spring Break for sure. That's probably the one to get tickets
and the Death Vegas Invitational. CMLL's running that show as well. They just put out their lineup. Like there is some really good stuff to watch that weekend that I'm looking forward to. And it's not the craziest in terms of volume of shows. It's still a ton. You can't digest it all, but there's still quite a lot there. But yeah, obviously WWE is going to eat up a huge amount of the focus.
It's cool seeing all the different promotions and like the dream matches, like we said, but then seeing that like there is a whole other world outside of just WWE and seeing all the indies and everything. So as always, support your local independent wrestling out there. And yeah, I'll definitely be checking out some of those events because some of those matches we don't have our what was it, Butterbean and Suzuki matchup like last year, but we have Invisible Man, Sandman.
Hey, we still have the clusterfuck. Okay, both could make it into
true
the clusterfuck.
Yeah, and Jun Kasai too. I'm definitely interested to see him and him now announced for the Best of the Super Juniors. So
yeah, we are going to get Jun Kasai against Nick Wayne and Jun Kasai against Robbie X, which are going to be must-see matches in the A-League.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm hyped for that.
I mean, it was quite the surprise announcement for the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. I cannot say Jun Kasai was on the top of my head about filling in one of those remaining spots.
I did not see that coming, and definitely will be watching. That's a ploy. Like I feel like he's going to be winding down his career soon, and instead he's just going to show up and fight all these kids and cruiserweights and stick them with forks and glass in New Japan. So.
I think he should just win the whole tournament, and let's just ride this one out.
But I'm in. Book it. Put him at the Dome in January. IWGP. Look, put him in the main event picture at this point. I'm stoked for that. That's pretty cool.
How's business at the Well for WrestleMania weekend?
Ooh, yes. Thank you, John. If you are in the Toronto area and you want to watch WrestleMania, we are going to be at the Well, the National in the Well, downtown Toronto. We are throwing a 2-night WrestleMania watch party. Poisonrana.ca for links for information, tickets, and links of everything else that we do. Give us a follow on Insta and Facebook and whatnot at Poisonrana Pod. But we're going to have 2 nights of WrestleMania. We got some games, some prizes. We have some title belts to give away. We got some crazy swag and some merch to give away for our raffles and our games and stuff, plus a awesome drink menu as always. So yeah, if you're in the Toronto area, please look up Poisonrana.ca because it's going to be a blast. We've had fun at this new venue, the National, and Davie's drink menu, the cocktails, the Poisonrana is always a big hit. The Royal Rumble shot. Who knows what will happen WrestleMania? I'm looking forward to watching with a big group of people more so than the actual event. Like I love watching with, we used to watch pay-per-views together. I can get pretty into it. I can get serious and start screaming at the TV. So I like when everyone else is doing it with me. It's joyful.
Maybe some Steiner screwdrivers will make their way late into the night. Maybe
what would a Steiner screwdriver be?
Some
chain link,
orange juice with a dash of bigoted comments.
Right. Yeah. Well, we won't serve those, but you could get some of the other stuff for a WrestleMania watch party. But yeah, check out all the other stuff, even if you're not in the Toronto area. We have tons of other shows and podcasts. And if you're in the Vancouver area, please say hi, because Davie and myself are going to reunite next week.
I'm going to Dynamite?
I'm going to Edmonton for Dynamite. So any Edmonton peeps.
It's a double taping, right? Collision as well, I think, is being taped that night.
True. That's right. Yeah.
You guys aren't staying for Collision.
I was about to say, there's a chance I don't stay for Collision, but I might, you and
Bruce Hart going to hit the Edmonton bars scene.
Yeah, I've been talking to Bruce from Post Wrestling.
I said Bruce Hart, not Bruce.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I've been trying to hang out with Bruce Hart. I'm not going to Calgary, but next time, because John, we need to go to Bret Hart's bar, the Hitman's bar. But I'm saving that for when we can go together. But yeah. Anyone in Edmonton, will be there for Dynamite. But then next weekend, Dynasty is in Vancouver, and Davie Portman and myself will be at Dynasty. We will be at Mystery Wrestling on the Saturday as well. So DMs are always open, and say hi if you're in the Vancouver area and you're going to these shows or whatnot. And recommendations, we might bar hop, the Saturday or the Sunday before the show and whatnot. So I'm on the fence of Tokyo Joshi Pro. I want to go on the Sunday, but it's a long day because to go to that in the morning and then go to Dynamite and then the presser and everything. So kind of torn, but yeah.
Do it. Come on.
I know. Might as well do it when in Rome, right? But that's when I'll be hanging out with Bruce Lord from Post Wrestling. But yes, DMs are open. If anyone in the West Coast, we're coming to the West Side and would love to meet any listeners as we always do. So we've had some people message already, but it's fun to see in the Post Wrestling community. But all right, let's stand and deliver. Let's talk about some WWE NXT from Saturday, April 4th. We're going to the Factory in St. Louis, Missouri. Between watching SmackDown and NXT today, I learned that St. Louis is the gate to the West. I'm learning so much from WWE Pro. I didn't know that. And now I'm aware that that's what that thing is, right?
Yeah.
It's a giant gate.
That's it. Mr. Geography here on the left side of your screen. That's
learning so much.
Our Canadian education system is standing and delivering now through Braden Herrington.
Gate of the West. So we had a little bit of a kickoff here. Did you happen to check out the pre-show?
I skimmed through it. It's an electrifying sit-down interview. We got both Sarah Schreiber and Blake Howard conducting. So, Blake Howard got kicked out, so he had a very easy night.
Yes, that's okay. But we had Vanity Project being interviewed, but then there was a pre-show match where it was Shiloh Hill teaming with Eli Knight. Who was it?
Wait, not Eli Knight anymore.
Oh, right. Yeah, he changed his name.
E.K. Prosper.
Yeah, it's not the same, is it? You know, Eli Knight was confusing for me, but I mean,
it was, taking both incarnations of Sean Ricker and combining it into one gimmick name was a little much. We made fun of this name quite a bit, so he probably was due for the name change. I guess E.K. Prosper. We're going to, anytime we say anything about a new name, it comes out like it's some really sentimental deal or something, so you always look like a fool afterwards. But, it's a name, E.K. Prosper.
It's in the game. That's what it kind of sounds like.
Kind of sounds like that. That and like Star Trek.
Right.
But,
yeah.
He also was like the big standout of this match to me for the very little time that they had.
Yeah. 10-person match. Hank and Tank, Shiloh, EK, and Ren Sinclair defeated the Birthright, Lexus, Stax, Charlie, Uriah, and Ariana. I think a story coming out of this was that Charlie recently joined the Birthright, the Nepo baby stable, and Ren got in a series of slaps, some revenge here to Charlie in this match, where she finally, even though the women and the men aren't supposed to fight in WWE, they allowed her just beating the shit out of him
and the crowd liked it. Like,
yeah.
Anytime you tease the intergender stuff, it usually gets a pretty good reaction because they seldom do it.
Yeah. So the finish was Shiloh Hill hitting his Whisper of the Beast to get the win. But that sent us off into the actual show. Now we're in Canada, so this is Netflix. But this was a free show on YouTube for everyone.
So I didn't know if you were going to be doing this, but I absolutely was checking out the viewing rates of the show in the U.S. throughout the night. I'll just say that 45 minutes into the show, they had 117,000 viewers in the U.S., and by the middle of the main event, it skyrocketed to 145,000 viewers.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
To put into comparison, like they typically do like under 600,000 viewers on CW Tuesday nights. I would look at those as fairly disappointing numbers when it's YouTube. Every single person that has access to NXT on a Tuesday night has access to YouTube, and this was their big show. So for the first event where it was on YouTube in the US, that was sort of the range we were looking at for live viewers.
Like, I'm pretty sure I've watched some of the AAA live stuff on YouTube that's had bigger numbers than that.
Yeah,
live.
That's
right.
We are talking worldwide numbers for AAA, like outside of Latin America. Like, this was US only, but I still felt it was, again, like I think you'd use sort of your CW number as sort of a baseline, but it was,
that is a little low, but I assume also like Saturday night, it's holidays, maybe by tomorrow, a day or two, that it's free. You can still watch the replay. That it was
Easter Sunday with Stand and Deliver. What better plans could you make? Have an Easter egg hunt and then throw on Jacy Jayne defending her women's title.
We didn't get a lot of Easter references on this show. No bunnies, no eggs.
We got none. There was an Easter egg with Callie Armstrong coming to NXT soon, but that was about it. Right.
Oh, nice. See what you did there. Well, we start things off with a big opening from the
this segment with Shawn.
NXT General Manager Shawn Michaels makes his way to the ring. We get big HBK chants. He's like, I'll never get tired of hearing those. When he introduces the host of the show, Sexy Red, St. Louis's own Sexy Red, comes out to the ring. She says she's so excited to be here in St. Louis and at NXT. And Shawn says, if you're not down with Sexy Red and Shawn Michaels and Stand and Deliver in St. Louis, then we got 2 words for you. And that's when Shawn usually takes the mic and then puts it in the air, and the crowd, unanimous, all in stereo, go, suck it. Well, as he did that, Sexy Red instead took her mic and said, fuck it, into the mic. And then you could tell Shawn was like, all right. And then they proceeded to dance together to some Sexy Red music.
I didn't even notice that was what she said. I thought she yelled "suck it," and
she yelled "fuck it."
Well, when in St. Louis, why not?
I didn't think they really liked her, even though this is her hometown. They didn't really They gave her a less pop than Jericho in his hometown this week, but I felt like she didn't quite get the big reaction here.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was sort of it just kind of sounds like, hey, could I get some comps to the show? And they said, hey, can we come up with some like segments for you? She's like, yeah, sure. What do you have in store? And this is what we got on the show. The segment with Michaels and basically saying hi to people backstage. And that was the extent of Sexy Red on this show.
Like she did that last time where she showed up and didn't do a whole lot. And we have these celebrity, involvement and whatever, but she just has this obsession with the sexy boy because she's Sexy Red. So I don't quite understand it, but they also posted.
She should have streamed this show on her TikTok and she would have blown away the YouTube viewership.
Wow.
I'm not even joking.
That's okay? Oh man, that's the world we live in.
Sexy Red's TikTok distribution would floor what they did on YouTube.
You a big fan of Sexy Red's TikTok? You on that a lot?
I did learn tonight that Sexy Red ended up voting Sexy Blue in the last election. She actually went for Kamala at the end.
Wow, really? Didn't she have like?
She was like a big Trump supporter.
Yeah, she was, wasn't she?
Then she flipped.
Oh.
I don't know what her current leaning is. But
I'm surprised they had her on this show then. Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe she didn't disclose.
What's your favorite Sexy Red song, John?
The one that Drake put out right after she had a child, and they used part of her.
Mine too. Rich Baby Daddy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Rich Baby Daddy. Yeah.
Hands on your knees. Yeah, what a banger. She should have came out to that. I think the purpose of her being here was backstage. They filmed a TikTok where it's her and Sean doing like his dance, like the pose, his entrance thing, because that's a big thing apparently on.
Didn't they do that before the two?
They did, but now they had a new one.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, that's great. She got some content from this outing to the factory.
We'll never forget Shawn Michaels dancing with Sexy Red, but it won't be the last time she dances on
Shawn
this.
did dance during this segment. And
yes.
It was Shawn dancing.
Will they show clips of this in his new documentary?
No.
On Peacock? No. Was it Peacock that this documentary
yes, it's on
is
Peacock.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Which when we were talking about 145,000 people watching this live, how many people were watching these NXT shows on Peacock?
Yeah. Wow.
Like it had to be minuscule numbers watching the NXT shows on Peacock.
I feel like this is the first time they've put this show on YouTube, like show like this. Yeah. And it's crazy that like, okay, internationally, there's probably a lot of other people watching too, but that number is shocking, I would say. Still.
Yeah. I mean, international was Netflix, but yeah, I mean, it tells you like whatever they're hoping to get for these PLEs that no one was biting at what they like. YouTube would not be your destination for these shows, obviously, but I would also say like if you're looking at these numbers, like what is going to be the appetite for NXTs are a nice like add-on to a bigger deal. Like if ESPN, it's like we're going to throw in the NXT, but I think they believe there's a value for these NXT PLEs, and they're just going to run these on YouTube until a deal of that value comes their way.
Like I still think since Black and Gold, like I don't know, the love of NXT, it's still got the ick. It's still got the stink of NXT, and I feel like it's not gonna come. I don't know. Is it ever gonna come back? Is it gonna be this way for just the rest of NXT's days? But we start off with some more dancing, a three-way dance, a triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion Jacy Jayne defending against Lola Vice and Kendal Gray. So NXT on Tuesday from MSG Theater went off the air with Lola tapping out while Kendal was being pinned. And it went off the air with Sean being like, I don't know what to do. And shortly after, or the day after, they announced it will be a triple threat. And that is kind of how we got here. But I love how Booker T mentioning Vic and Book on commentary mentioning that match on Tuesday got a lot of love. I I believe I saw the love from the Observer, which definitely don't give Booker a whole lot of love. So I thought that was pretty funny that they mentioned that.
When there's good news,
Yeah.
Booker will cite
Yeah.
publication. When it's bad, yes, I caught that too. That was rather funny.
Something I did catch here is like Jacy gets the champion's entrance, comes out last here, and she's walking through the corridor of this like venue to get to Gorilla. And then it puts up these like videos on each side of her showing her career here in NXT and like her rise to champion. And like as cool as it is seeing like this, I just feel like this is the biggest way to tell me that this reign is coming to an end, because here's all the highlight package of this clip. But maybe I'm alone on that. 137-day reign. But if you put the two reigns together where she lost it for a second there and then she won it back, it's over 250 days.
Yeah, they were putting this over, and it kind of lost its substance later when they were also putting over Myles Borne being North American champion for 39 days. I was like, that's just over a month. That's 5 weeks.
Right. It's not that long. Well, whereas Jacy, it feels like she's been champion for, I mean, pretty much almost the entire year.
She's, even without the title, like she has been kind of the main character of this women's division for 9 months, or really ever since she won the belt. But yeah, certainly.
So we have all three of these women going at it here. We have all of them trying to dodge each other's moves. There's a huge seated senton from Lola to the outside. There's a distraction here from Fatal Influence, which allows a backstabber from Jacy for a near fall. Jacy's in control with these super kicks to Kendal and to Lola, and then she isolates Gray and keeps trying to pin and trying to get her down while Lola's out of the ring. Booker on commentary says, "Vic, no one likes you," which I thought was pretty funny. I like Vic, but I thought that was still funny. Booker T definitely had like 4 Red Bulls before this show. There's a huge Tower of Power, like angle slam bomb from the 3 of them. There's the kicks from Lola where she's doing the jumping side kicks and then sets up both of them in each corner and does the ass shake and then the ass attack in the corner as Booker T is doing his best Quagmire impression. There's German suplexes from Gray as she takes down the straps. It's Kurt Angle right here doing all the German suplexes and throws. There's then Jacy who comes back with V triggers, and then there's a PK to Lola, and then she tries it on Gray, but countered into an ankle lock, which is really cool. This is where the screen was kind of cutting to black quite a few times. Yes. And at first I was like, oh no, the feed, what is happening? And then I kind of put 2 and 2 together that I think there was a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction, and it happened quite a lot through the end of this match. There's the big finish where Jacy is wrapped up in the submission and she's trying to grab, and it keeps cutting to black because I think her top was wrestling with her just as much as Lola and Kendal were. So eventually Jacy gets out of this, and then Ren scares away Fatal Influence. There's a big moonsault. There's everything breaking down, but it ends with a rolling encore from Jacy that connects to Gray to send her out, which allows Lola to hit the spinning back fist, and she pins Jacy Jayne to win the NXT Women's Championship in 16 minutes, 15 seconds. But Lola Vice is very nice, and she did it finally.
Yeah, I wouldn't... Like, granted, this had the finish, which Tuesday's match did not. I thought Tuesday's match was ahead of this one, but I thought this really picked up in the final minutes. Kendal Gray looked like her transitional work and just the smoothness. It's very evident how she has that part down that many others do not, especially at her experience level. This is a very good match for Lola Vice. I think it was the best option available. If you're going to have Jayne in this match, she works very well in these triple threat scenarios where you can do, like, she disappears for a while, she makes the saves, and when they kind of turned up the tempo in these last couple of minutes, crowd really got into it, and it was like they hit everything here at the end, culminating with the rolling encore and then the spinning back fist. So, you come out of it, you got the title change, and it naturally should lead to a singles match with Vice and Kendal Gray at a future date as well. So I like the booking of this as well, the way they protected Kendal Gray, and with the disputed finish on Tuesday, it's a very natural rematch to go to. And I guess an interesting question too of like Jacy Jayne of what's next, because she's another one that she's been here a long time. And it's sort of that is like, where are you going with a Jacy Jayne at this point, who has been there right from the beginning of the 2.0 era?
Absolutely. I think Tuesday will be her NXT swan song. I think that will be the final bow in the Performance Center, because I feel like a call-up is definitely in her future. I almost would keep them together, whether it's a tag team or a group with Fatal Influence, but I definitely think she's outgrown NXT. I mean, having this long reign, telling us over 250 days together, title reigns, like that's a long time. And I feel like now we can free up this to have other people step up into this. And that person is Lola. Like she's been great. Her improvement over the last 2 years in NXT has been awesome. And I know Kendal Gray being the new hot commodity, the new hot toy here in NXT, like, yeah, she is awesome. But I am kind of happy we went with Lola first. Like she's been shooting in the gym for a while, and to just have Gray come in and win here, I think it would still be nice, but I'm very happy that it was Lola. And I kind of agree with you. I think the match on Tuesday I was a bit more into, but not to say that this wasn't a good match. It's just unfortunate with a lot of the black screens and the wardrobe malfunction here, because I'm sure they could clean it up on the Netflix or YouTube feed or something. I don't know if they could, but it definitely like took away as it was big parts of the match. And I'm like, my screen, what's going on? So I still really got into this match. And I think they put on a big opener that the crowd were behind. All of them were like, okay, we got something to prove here. So good job for Lola Vice. Pretty excited. And it opens so much more up on Tuesdays with, different people that could face her for the belt and everything. Again, a long reign is cool, but when it finally ends, it's like refreshing to see where we can go with it on NXT TV. So good stuff from Lola Vice. We go to some commercials for Evolve. You mentioned some Easter eggs. Callie Armstrong, the difference maker, coming soon to NXT. All these Evolve call-ups. That's how there's levels, layers. NXT's the developmental to WWE, but we got Evolve as the developmental here.
I hope she's not 5'5" and wants to come in and do 45-minute matches.
Imagine any wrestler who is legit 5'5". Like, fuck's sake. They're just so angry that this guy would say that. But she looked like she might be taller. I don't know.
There's some short people out there.
Yeah.
5'5" is, that it's short, but there are shorter as well.
I think Randy Newman wrote a song about that. Pretty sure. We go to our tag team match. The next titles on the line here. The NXT Championships. The tag match here. Los Americanos. Bravo and Rayo taking on Vanity Project.
Make sure you don't say Rayo, which Booker did and got corrected by Vic.
Many times. Rayo, Bravo. We got Rayo Bravo taking on Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. Vanity Project. I just love Ricky Smokes. The name is my favorite name to say. Ricky Smokes.
These guys have a great act. I really like Vanity Project. I think Jackson Drake is really strong.
Oh, yeah.
And I think these two are a perfect example of a team that I think these guys would benefit so much by just working matches all throughout the week and doing live events. But that's like, they're just not going to get a ton of matches together. But I think they would benefit so greatly from just more matches together. Like, they've got the gimmick down pretty well. And I think this team is like, they've got something here that's very unique within the tag division.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm a big fan of Vanity. You're saying you swipe right on Vanity Project essentially, because I think they've been my favorite thing on NXT TV since they've shown up. Like, these guys are super young. They're running circles around certain people when it comes to in-ring like matches. Like, they're putting on some great stuff. And Jackson Drake specifically. Now, I know he wasn't necessarily in this match, but he's ringside for this match. He is someone, like, as soon as I started seeing him wrestle on TV, I was like, oh man, this guy is awesome. And again, so young.
So we did get Sexy Red and Drake on this show.
True. Yeah. Dr. Thirst, Jackson Drake here with the Vanity Project. I'm a big fan of these guys. You got Ricky Smokes with the best name in wrestling, and Goodwill Hunting Brad Baylor.
Evil Matt Damon.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I'm pretty sure Davie and I have been calling him that for the last few weeks. So to hear Vic say that is pretty funny.
Is this Matt Damon in The Departed? Evil Matt Damon.
True. Yeah. Actually, I recently watched Interstellar for the first time, and he pops up, and he's pretty. I'm not the biggest Matt Damon fan, but sometimes he's pretty good.
I like Matt Damon. I haven't seen too many bad Matt Damon movies, but I haven't seen all of them either.
The one where he buys a zoo.
Is that the one? Is there one he does with Jack Black? Is that the one?
Is that where he buys a zoo?
I can't remember.
Shout out Matt Damon, but
how about Rounders? Okay, is that
Rounders is good? Yeah, Edward Norton.
What do you mean, like good? That's like you're okay. I'll go with you on that. Rounders is incredible.
Good Will Hunting's better than Rounders. Good Will Hunting's better. Robin Williams won the Oscar. They won the Oscar for it. Come on. I think Good Will Hunting's better than Rounders, but I like. He was really good at Interstellar, and he's really good. Yeah, The Departed. The Odyssey looks interesting. You know, let's start reviewing Matt Damon movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is The Talented Mr. Ripley?
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
You never saw The Talented Mr. Ripley? It's an old movie at this point. I mean, it came out during the Attitude Era, so it was a long, long time ago. I wouldn't expect any. I don't think they even had DVDs of this.
Wait, what's the one where he's with where he's a twin with Greg Kinnear? They're like conjoined twins.
That's the movie I was thinking about, not Jack Black. That's
Twins.
I never saw that movie. It looked stupid.
It's better than Rounders.
I've got better things to do tonight. I'm just going to leave the room here. If you don't have love for Rounders,
I literally watched it like 2 weeks ago. We play it at work all the time. I love that movie, but it's not Good Will Hunting. Stuck on You. That's the movie. Thank you. Someone in the chat. I see you.
Stuck on You.
Stuck on You is better than Rounders.
You don't hit home runs every time out.
Well, I wonder if Brad Baylor's ever seen Stuck on You or start naming your wrestling moves after Matt Damon movies. That would be like a satellite spit out thing. The Martian, you know, Stuck on You. It's something like a submission.
What was the movie you just did with Ben Affleck, the cop thriller? I just watched this on Netflix recently.
Oh, I don't know. Was it good?
It was fine. Like for a Netflix release, it was all right. It was him and Ben Affleck together.
This isn't the one where they're like knights, like long wigs.
No, they're playing like they're playing cops that go to like a
right. Yeah, they played the ads on WWE on Netflix, so it's like
they promoted the shit out of this.
Yeah. I feel like Ben Affleck, he's kind of turned babyface over the years. Like he had that one with Jennifer Lopez, Giggly. What is it? Geely. And then like over the years, he's kind of like people are chill with him again. We kind of like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
The rip
going out for a rip. Interesting. I'll add it to the
list. What if Brad Baylor eventually goes for the North American title and he informs Myles that it's time for your Borne identity?
That's still the best Matt Damon. The first one. It's better than Rounders. So the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line. The Vanity Project are the champions. So Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes taking on Rayo and Bravo here with Grande ringside and Jackson Drake as well. We get the luchadors doing some classic lucha stuff. There's some La Parka poses and some counters and some flashy head scissors. Booker T really loves Vanity Project. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs. And Vic asks Book if he's ever thought about running for office, which would be quite interesting. I think not the first wrestler to do that, right? The Luchas keep getting the best of Ricky as he tags in Brad Baylor here. Ricky, though, is on the apron and hits the Johnny Gargano like slingshot spear, which I thought was cool. Rio hits a sunset bomb off the top to Ricky for a 2 count. Baylor is in and hits the Sushi Garoshi, the suplex lift into the Ushi Garoshi, as I call it. Very nice from Brad Baylor, but only a 2 count. They then hit a drop kick variation of the Heart Attack. I noticed Vanity Project were also rocking Bret Hart colors here, so they were representing Bruce Hart a little bit with the pink and black attack. But Bravo is in with this huge flapjack on Brad, and I think as he lands, he kicks him in midair. I love how he did this spot. The Bravo like flapjacks, and then while he's landing, he like kicks him upwards, which was pretty cool. There's then a few Hurricane Ranas, and then there's a giant neck breaker, a Michinoku combo, which was crazy for a near fall, and then the champions Vanity hit some double teams of their own, like a spin out sidewalk slam into like a tope combo, and then a crazy spot where there's a run off the top and then double splashes to Ricky from the luchadors, but Ricky kicks out of it. There's then Baylor who gets the hand of Rayo, and I guess maybe he understands who's underneath that mask because he starts to do some joint manipulations and breaks the fingers of Rayo, or at least he tries to. And that's when Vic says that's evil Matt Damon. There's then the bitter end, but there's a kick out again. And then the masks are loaded because Grande has been slipping them the little piece of metal. But then I think it's Drake who takes it, and Drake takes this crazy bump ringside here. I rewound this a few times. This is just very excessive.
Yeah, he got killed here on the floor. But this foreign object got like passed around like a hot potato. And I don't know what happened at the end here, but go ahead. So
they eventually, I think it's Drake who still has it, and then nails Bravo with it as Baylor hits this dive, and then there's their Scorpion Death Drop double stomp combo, which allows them to get the win. So the Vanity Project retain the NXT tag titles in 13 minutes, 27 seconds. In what I thought was a really fast, crazy match. Again, I am big fans of these Vanity Project guys, and wrestling Rayo and Bravo, who can do some pretty fun stuff. Like I think maybe this was even my match of the night. Actually, this was pretty fun.
You're just full of crazy takes. My favorite part of this match was after Bravo got his mask loaded. I think it was Baylor or Smokes, it doesn't matter, removes the object from his mask.
Yeah.
And it's like 5 minutes later, Bravo headbutts one of them, and then he realizes he goes to touch his head and the object's gone. And the announcers don't call any attention to this, but I was greatly, like, I understood here. He thought the object was there this whole time. And then the finish is, like, you described it how I think it was to go, where Drake has this object, winds back, and punches him with the object. But the announcers just call it like it's just a punch.
Right.
And then during the replay, I think Vic has caught on to this, and he says, nails Bravo. It's a loaded hand, possibly. He's not going to commit to it was a loaded hand because he can't even see it at all. So I think there was some stuff that was just kind of.
How does that hurt more if you have a piece of metal, hold it up in your hand?
Well, exactly. He had a closed fist, and it's like, yeah, even if the object was in there, it's probably going to slice your hand if you really connect with the guy's skull. So yeah, not exactly the best thought out foreign object here, which always a rule of thumb for a foreign object like that, so people can see the object. I mean, that is why brass knuckles have had such a vaunted history in professional wrestling. But maybe just a little bit too much overthinking and not enough communication here. With
way too much. Yeah, like they were passing it around so much that it was towards the end of the match. I think
Vic was just trying to piece it together here of like what was all to go down here. So, but yeah, like a fine tag match. I mean, I would put this as like a mid-tier Damon film. You know what I mean? Like
right.
This was a Euro trip maybe.
Oh, whoa! I feel like we forgot about that one. It's not really a Matt Damon movie because he's in it for like 3 minutes, but those 3 minutes, still are talked about. That's a fantastic song. But yeah, I love the Vanity Project, and I want to see more from these guys with Jackson Drake and everything.
And it looks like they're going to, they continue to do stuff with Blake Monroe, and it seems like she will somehow continue to have some affiliation with this group.
Yeah, going forward, maybe there's a connection, but will we see the Los Americanos on NXT again, or is this they're done for now? They lost.
I think they were just called upon to fill a spot because of injuries that they had in the tag tournament. So they got the call. Booker was adamant about unmasking these guys. He was such fans of their work. He wants to see who they were. Yeah.
He's like, oh, these guys are so good. How have we never heard about them before? Can I learn who they are?
Pat McAfee would hate these two.
Right. Well, I think they're shorter than 5'5".
Yeah, they're tiny.
No disrespect, but yeah, Pat would not like that. But yeah. Well, Vanity Project retain. We go to Shiloh Hill, a recap of him winning the match earlier, and he's hanging out with Tatum, Paxley, the two weirdos here at NXT Degrassi High. This is a bit of
Oh, we're getting a wedding by September.
I was okay. All right. I was just about to say, am I the only one getting Crowbar Daphne vibes, especially from the way they dress? Just in these segments with like the jeans and then her goth fits here. But he says he's so excited that he won his first PLE match. It's YouTube, so it counts on the pre-show. He says that he can't wait to go and tell all his friends in the woods. This is when Sexy Red shows up and starts dancing. Shiloh marks out and says that, Tatum, after you win and retain your title tonight, we're going to be outside. And there's going to be an after party hosted by Sexy Red when Ricky Saints walks by and says, Sexy, don't hang out with these weirdos. Hang out with a real VIP winner as he walks off. So
instead, she's going to Gronk Beach for the
No, Sexy's going to show up at, what is it, Diplo and Ric Flair. That's where she'll show up.
Would you go to Gronk Beach if you were in Vegas this
Only
year?
with you.
I think you would go. I think you would definitely
go. What? Why? No, I take offense to that, sir. Out of all of the events, like, I think there's more of a chance of me going to Kill Tony than going to Gronk Beach, but
they should just meld the two events together. Like that should be the premise. Like Kill Tony at Gronk Beach.
Right. Yeah. And then what else has been added? There's Diplo, Ric Flair. There, I don't think that's WWE official. That's just like he's doing some party with him.
I think so, yeah, because they've got like MGK there and God knows who else. I mean,
I think Diplo's at the Gronk Beach thing too.
Like just put up a sign around this place of like that you do not want my patronage at all. It's pretty much like the lowest forms of Earth are going to be attending this over 4 days.
When I heard you talk about Gronk Beach, there was so much disdain. That's how I found out about it.
Sounds like a horrible time to spend any moment of your vacation in Vegas.
Of life.
Yeah, really. Like, what more are you living for after surviving Gronk Beach?
Remember when we were in Vegas together and me and you got stuck out in the desert for a little while? That sounds like more fun than going to Gronk Beach in Vegas.
That was a I won't say near-death experience, but
it could have been.
How the fuck are we going to get back? Because we were in the goddamn outskirts of Las Vegas, and there was nobody coming for us.
So you wanted your J.R. Ewing bourbon, which if you have some bottles laying around, John, I'll definitely take those off your hands. But you wanted your J.R. Ewing bourbon, and then we took a cab off the strip to the middle of nowhere, and then when we got out the cab. He's like, you guys want me to wait for you? And we're like, no, it's fine. Big mistake. We were stuck out there for a while. We're alive.
There were no cabs that would come out that far, and we were just stuck there for
sun's going down. We're like, oh.
It was a long time that we were out there, and there was just no hope in sight. It was like this is where they bring people out to just murder in the back of the head and bury, and that's where we are at the moment.
But we made it here, and we're talking about NXT. So, yeah, I'm never going back to Vegas.
There's your free ad for Gronk Beach.
It was literally sounds less pleasant than our adventure being stuck out there. We go to our next match. It is a big grudge match. Sol Ruca versus Zarya. The two of them were friends, but now bitter enemies. Tale as old as time. Great video package. It shows a lot of Zarya's evil Marvel villain videos of her entrance, her beating people up, all scary, and then just Sol Ruca surfing and just being a nice person, I guess. She was already here with this teal bikini that she was wearing, just because of the surf scene that they've got out there in St. Louis. Can you surf on that giant arch? Can do some grindage? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I feel like she would be the one to do it, right? I couldn't tell what Sol's outfit was. I think the colors were like a Mighty Ducks or something. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Well, it's like she's got the bikini on, but then she's also got she's wearing Calvin Klein underwear, which is she had 3 layers of gear. It's like a more conservative Lita look, sort of. Maybe she saw Jacy's match earlier and went, you know what, I'm going to put some extra layers of clothing on for my matchup. That might have been a good
precursor.
Well, so Soul is wearing some surfer gear with the surfer thong, and then Zarya is dressed like Kane from 1997 with all the red and the fire.
How are these two friends? Like, could you imagine these two, like a beach day between these two? These were some unexplored vignettes. They had a year to promote this, and we never got beach day.
You think Soul Ruka is going to be at Gronk Beach?
Oh God, she probably will get sent there. Yeah, you would
soul
think.
surfing. Yeah. So
she'll have some soul searching after having to spend a day with those folks.
So this match is all about how these two hate each other and they are friends. But it's interesting because the weekly NXT TV show is filmed on Tuesday nights, or sorry, it's live on Tuesday nights in the Performance Center. That place fits like 100 people, like 200 people. I don't know how many exactly fans on Tuesday nights, but it's really easy for people to take over the cheers or the boos, especially those people who go to the Performance Center on Tuesday nights and just do the boo. Like, I hate those people and whoever that one guy is. But it's interesting because throughout this feud, I think the Performance Center has been cheering Zarya and booing Sol Ruca. So there was a bit of there was interest here when Sol is actually being cheered, but then you could hear people in the crowd still being like, "No, I'm cheering for Zarya." So I thought that was pretty funny. Sol is jumping Zarya in the beginning of the match, like right even before the bell. She jumps over. I should mention the ramp here is level to the ring here. No one's going through it like Bam Bam or anything, but solid steel, as Vic kept telling me, even though it had like rubber pads over top of it. But it's okay. So
I hate that compromise steel that they would use that always has some give to it.
Yeah. So Sol does this giant dive into the ring and starts beating down on Zarya. The ref rings the bell and the match starts. Zarya starts to throw like Sol all over the place. Sol attempts to go for something on the outside, but like a moonsault, but gets booted. And then Zarya gets her in the ring and does her choke out in the corner. She then hits this big knee, knocking Sol down, followed up by a German for a 2 count. Sol fights back with a Hurricanrana off the top and then a German suplex of her own. There's then like a super big drop kick and then a kip up. She goes for the Soul Snatcher, but gets kicked in the face. And then they're fighting on the ramp. And that's when the Soul Snatcher connects for the first time in this match on the solid steel ramp. And as Sol is getting up, we get the classic NXT shot of Zarya rising from the ashes here. This is they used to do this a lot on NXT. It's been a while, I feel like, where you just see her coming out of the frame looking like the devil again with like the red gear and the hair and everything. But she gets up, she attacks Sol, but Sol once again connects with the Soul Snatcher, but Zarya kicks out. Sol goes for this like 450 buckshot lariat, but gets speared by Zarya, followed up by a forehead kiss, and then the F5, but Sol kicks out. We get this big, very emotional moment between the two of them, followed up by headbutts. They're fighting up on the turnbuckle now when Sol hits a avalanche X Factor and then hits a third Soul Snatcher for the 1, 2, 3 and pins her former best friend in 13 minutes, 7 seconds.
3 souls snatched.
Wow.
Succession. Yes. It was good. I thought that it was, I don't think it ever hit that level of like the big blow off type of match that, you know, I'm sure they were aiming to have for this, because it also felt definitive enough that I don't think they need to run this one back again. It kind of feels like, to be honest, like at the end of this, it sort of feels like Sol Ruca is near the end of her road here, but I guess they've still got the title chase, whatever that has, but feels like Sol Ruca to me is just on a, you know, the hourglass is quickly filling up, and I think she's going to be on her way in at some point, obviously, but it's also such a big clogged call-up procedure at WWE at the moment that, you know, timing wise, you maybe want to space this one out a bit. But, you know, it was, you know, they did the big kickouts of each other's finishers and such. And yeah, it felt like the conclusion, but, you know, average match at points. Like the audience got into the big spots, especially in the near falls at the end.
Like, I like these two. I'm kind of happy. I don't know if it's over. I'm assuming it's over. There was no beatdown afterwards or anything. Like, I'm kind of happy that we can move away from this feud a little bit. I think in NXT, the feuds go on for a little bit, and then I get sick of them really quickly. I'm not just talking about this one, but this one has been going on with the friendship and the breakup and stuff. So
you could do like loser leaves NXT if you really want to do that, and Zarya prevents her from getting the title. Something like that. Like maybe Soul gets her shot and Zarya costs her, because you're right. If you're not bringing up Soul immediately, and for all we know, like she could be someone right, like after Mania, like would you assume like more names go up? But I guess you could go that direction, and because Zarya, I do not see moving up, and I don't think she should be moving up at the moment.
Yeah, I could totally see Soul moving up before Zarya. I think Zarya could do a lot more in NXT. I didn't love this match. I think it was fine. It wasn't bad by any means. I don't know. Something was missing.
This was the biggest built match on the whole show. Like this one has been months in the making, and it did not have the feel of your big blow off type of match that, Soul Ruka's had better matches. Zarya's had better matches. It was like, again, like I'm not going to like pick it apart. Like there were all these like blowing spots, or the timing was off, or the crowd was disengaged. The crowd wasn't red hot for it.
The whole show, this crowd weren't hot.
No, it was like, again, like it was a much hotter crowd on Tuesday. Like, did anyone come close to Mike Santana's reaction on Tuesday on this show? I didn't think anybody did. And yeah, for this one, I guess this was the one that you just felt it had the biggest buildup, and therefore I think had the most expectation, and it was an average match, like something you'd see on television, like a good NXT TV match.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt from it. Maybe I had just some bigger expectations from it, but like I like both these women, and I think both of them could easily be on the main roster down the line. And I don't know, Soul could be someone you pull up, but you do think if you're not, or you don't have any plans, then she should be like a champion.
They have
here.
So many people at the moment, and not enough. Like even with 5.5 hours between Raw and SmackDown, it's really easy to, like, Jordynne Grace is totally lost in the shuffle at the moment, and a Soul Ruka, like, yeah, you can come up and you're gonna get the immediate attention, but it's really hard to maintain that. And it's one of the things about NXT is that you're constantly moving people, so spots open up. But the main roster, like, unless you get released, there's no spots opening up. It's more people that you're placing on there, and you're gonna have a lot of people that just get that are going to be forgotten players.
And part of me, I still think Soul was the heel in this feud. She was not the best friend, so maybe we could get a Soul heel turn, if not the case.
What was she telling Zarya at the end? Like, she was trying to have like a heart-to-heart with her. What was she telling her at the end?
She
like,
said,
hey, let's not finish this match. Let's just walk to the back.
Vaya con Dios. That's what she said. See ya. I'm going to the main roster, and you can stay here.
Later. Yeah. I'm getting a new contract.
I feel like if people get called up, we at least need the NXT send-offs. Let's bring those back. Like the two, like from the PC. Doing it here, these people, this crowd didn't care about anything, really.
Remember when Johnny Gargano did his send-off, and then 8 months later tore the house down in Toronto for his return, and he was off to becoming a main eventer?
That's right. Yeah. And then all those years later, here he is on NXT.
That was like how many years ago? That was like 2022.
Are you talking about the Raw we went to?
The Raw, where Gargano returns.
And me and Davie were in the washroom?
Yeah, you guys missed that one.
we come bolting out of there, screaming, hollering. That was good. It's a good time. This was a fine match. I think we said, like, we want to see these two go somewhere else, and maybe Soul should go to the main roster if there's some room for her, but not quite the Departed, right? This was like what? Like the Informant? Where would you go with this one on your Matt Damon scale? Like it was definitely not.
I'd go Ocean's 12, not Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12,
and not Ocean's 13. So
no, so it's not that. It's not an insult.
Yeah,
it's not Ocean's 11 either.
Right. Yeah,
the original or the 2001 remake.
The 2001 remakes, though. That's
you ever seen
the
extra version?
You know, as a kid, like for fun, my mom played it for me once.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
I do.
You know
Is it on there?
You know what they just added to Amazon Prime? I just found it tonight. 7 seasons of Dallas.
Whoa. I guess I know what you're doing after the show.
7
When's
seasons.
the pod dropping? When's the Dallas pod?
I don't know. I've always said there's no point to doing it because it was never on a streaming service. And then all of a sudden tonight I was like browsing through and I found Dallas on Amazon Prime in Canada. I don't know what what other geographical regions it's available in, but in Canada it's on Amazon Prime. 7 seasons.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Future Dallas reviews coming to Post Wrestling
Doesn't sound
Cafe.
like you're going to be sampling any of these, but
I mean, I've never watched it. But I work at a TV station that played, what's the other one? Not Dallas. It's similar.
Dynasty.
Yeah. We've been playing Dynasty. And
I never watched Dynasty. I never watched Knots Landing was sort of a spinoff of
yeah, we have that too. Yeah, we had that too. We had Knight Rider, which I much prefer.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of these. Are you watching The Pit?
I was, and then there was an episode where they were like sticking needles in some guy's dick, and I was like, I'm out. I'm fucking done with this show.
Yeah, that one was, dude, there's some graphic shit in this. I just watched Brain Surgery the other night, and that was a lot too. Yeah, it was, they're sticking like needles in this dude's like cranium. Yeah, it's graphic, but it's an awesome show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just that was a lot for me. And the first season was like someone's balls get like squished up too, and I was like, they're really
it's the guy he takes something similar to Viagra, whatever it is. So he's got a hard on
for like 2 days,
and they basically gotta inject a needle, and there's like blood splatter. It's really graphic.
Yeah, my girlfriend's like, hey, we still haven't finished that last season. I was like, go ahead. I'm good. I'm fine. I think I don't know if I need to see more, but I'll check it out.
Anyway. There you go. That's our intermission. Let's move
on. Well, let's go to our next match. We get a commercial for NXT on the CW network Tuesday nights, but we go to our next matchup. The NXT North American Championship on the line. Myles Borne, the champion, defending against Johnny Gargano, returning to NXT. You know, there's
undefeated at this event, Vic Joseph notes his stand and deliver history.
Is that like one? Like,
I only remember the Grayson Waller match. Maybe there were, when did stand and deliver start? 2021, I think.
So he would only have wrestled, I guess, that one. Right?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, but
yeah, it's weird. Like I don't know if it's
Johnny Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, it's Johnny Standy is not the quite same, but he's wearing some old gear here. Like this Johnny Gargano NXT, he is the heart and soul. You know, you have CM Punk in Chicago, Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome,
Johnny Gargano at the factory in St. Louis.
yeah, that's right. You got Johnny Gargano in NXT, Johnny Takeover. Okay. Never forget. It is weird because they want to tell you like, hey, back when we used to call this show Takeover, which they didn't say, that's what we used to call him. But they say he's Johnny Takeover without really explaining it. But yeah, Vic, this, oh my God, Booker T starts like listing all these things. Like Johnny Gargano was 2-time or 3-time North American champion, and his reign was this. And Vic at one point is like, yo, Book, are you reading my notes? And Book is like, nah. And Vic is like, well, you seem pretty knowledgeable about this. Like, how do you know all this? And then it's just silent for a second. And Book goes, nah, man, I got an earpiece. There's a Sats guy in my ear. Come on, get with it. It's like, no, of course I don't know these things. I have someone telling me this in my ear. How dare you? So Johnny Gargano with his old school NXT gear, I thought he looked good. He always looked good at the takeovers with his gear, so I thought that was pretty cool.
So he beat Bronson Reed at the first Stand and Deliver, so he is 2-0.
Whoa, it's the streak. Oh,
the streak is over, folks.
It's gonna end. Yeah. So Johnny and Myles tie up here, and there's some classic technical wrestling, the drop downs and everything. But when Johnny goes for his drop down, he stays there. The depressed planking Johnny, and Myles is like, what are you doing? We're wrestling. Come on, get up. But he's playing possum. It's all a ruse as he tries to roll Myles up here. There's eventually some arm drags and a snap Rana from Johnny, and then a tope off the apron. Myles hits this like angle slam into the post and then gets him in the ring for a snap power slam. Johnny fights back with his slingshot spear, and then the Cheeky Nandos into a sunset flip. There was a lot of sunset bombs on this NXT show. There are some great sequences back and forth. Eventually, Myles hits the Ushi Goroshi, a bull killer. Eventually, there's a flying clothesline from Myles to the outside as they continue to brawl. But Johnny attacks him while he's trying to get back in with the Willow's Bell, his bestie's finishing move. But Myles kicks out of that. There's then the Gargano escape that's turned into the Borne again, but Gargano kicks out of that. There's then Candice, when the ref doesn't see, slaps Myles. I don't know if she had a piece of loaded metal in her hand. It was left
on the floor by Jackson Drake.
Yeah,
she just picked it up. It was a loaded slap.
Just a slap to Myles, and then Johnny rolls him up, but he kicks out. Eventually, there's the Gargano escape again, and this was really great, where Myles was just trying to reach for these ropes and keeps getting dragged back to the middle, but eventually gets the ropes. And when they go back at it again, there's a Borne again, sort of, and then a Borne again, sort of, again, a Borne again, as Myles Borne pins Johnny Takeover, and the streak is broken because Myles defeats him in 14 minutes, 35 seconds. I cannot stand the Borne again finisher. We need a finisher class in the PC in WWE. But yeah, what did you think of Johnny's NXT return?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly not at the high level of some of Gargano's past matches, which I think if you're selling that, like, that's, I would say this was one match where this did feel like more than just a match you would just get at any other NXT special. Like, it could have been, it was at least built up as, you know, your former big star against a guy that's on the rise in Myles Borne. It was a nice match that they had. I was glad that they didn't lean on the Johnny Gargano main roster character and doing a whole lot of that. Like, they did the one spot and then it was just like a ruse that he was just luring him in, because I think that would have really hampered this if they were playing up that. Instead, it was just Gargano got to have like a wrestling match for 14 and a half minutes. And again, there was nothing wrong with it. It was, you know, at times it seemed like the audience like really got, like, some of Gargano's fire was definitely still there. It was interesting with, like, when they did the Willow's Bell, like it was like how much of this audience is even like tuned into like what the significance of that was, and the announcers can't really explain it either. But you know, it gave Borne the win. It was something that you can at least play up that, hey, Myles Borne got this big title defense. But I wouldn't say this was like the show stealer, that maybe going into the show you were expecting this to be this real career-making match for Myles Borne, that he was going to have this blow-away match that steals the show.
I feel the same way. Like, yeah, if you're a hardcore, which it seems some people in this crowd were chanting Johnny Wrestling, like they seemed to be into this character. They seemed to know what was going on. They seemed into this match, but it didn't get to the level of maybe those old school. Okay, it wasn't Johnny Gargano versus Almas and Chill or those Cole matches or anything, but like it still was fine, especially for
all these matches tonight. Like, they're all like fine matches. Like, I didn't think anything was like bad. It was just not getting to that next gear that, you know, the hallmark of these shows used to be, that you'd get multiples of these, and we're not in the takeover era anymore. Like, fair enough. But like, even these like this current era of NXT shows, like they have some very good like PLEs as well. And I just felt like these were, you know, I thought the women's match did well. We'll get on to what follows this as well. But it was like satisfactory wrestling in a time when, man, you're getting just so much incredible wrestling every week that just like meeting like the bar is just, it's not going to stand out.
Yeah, I felt that way. Like Johnny will always have special place for the heart and soul of the black and gold NXT. But if he came out, did the hits and everything, and it was fine. But I do hate that finish, the zigzag. It's like you're the one taking the bump and you pin the guy. And I thought it looked so weak that they did it a second time to the finish, and it still didn't necessarily look like it connected.
It really creates one of those Borne ultimatums when you're.
Oh, is that what we're going with this one? Because Myles Borne, he should be naming a move after the ultimatum, the identity.
Him and Brad Baylor. I mean, that's a future Stand and Deliver main event for sure. Absolutely.
Borne ultimatum right there is what that will be. I'll go with that. The Borne, sorry, what's the second one? The Borne supremacy?
Borne supremacy was the follow-up to the Borne identity. Yes.
Yeah. First one's a better one though. And this
the first one's great. Yeah.
This one isn't that. This one's the second one. Too much talking.
It's got that Extreme Ways.
The remix.
On
yeah.
the remix.
I love
of the
Moby.
soundtrack.
I love Moby so much.
Yeah. Is Moby, is he in good standing with the public these days?
Yeah, other than the fact he got vegan tattooed on his neck, like Cody Rhodes. Just says vegan. Like right.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's like I don't hate vegans. I have nothing against them at all, but it's still weird. But he's having a bit of a comeback. Remember when Eminem said nobody listens to techno? He was kind of wrong.
I listen to techno.
Yeah, I know. We going to Venga Boys in October?
I saw Venga Boys a few years ago.
I know.
They performed in a parking lot.
Yeah, they're playing the casino this time. They've stepped it up.
I am not going to a casino.
Venga Bus is coming.
Yeah, no. Boom, boom. I will. That's close there with Gronk Beach. So. Venga Boys on the casino circuit. That's something else.
So this was the Borne supremacy. We'll see. Myles Borne retains. Like, I'm happy Myles. I didn't want Johnny to win, but I kind of did. I don't know how. We need to get Johnny.
I don't know what you do with, like, unless you were going to do some prolonged stay for Gargano, but I think he's going to go right back to this character on SmackDown that is a dead end, that is going nowhere, and then, like, you either snap out of it or, I don't know, or this guy's contract ends, and one unannounced Saturday you're going to get Gargano versus Almost and Chill on a random episode of Collision in Des Moines, Iowa.
Like, saying that, okay, like, he still can go, and I think obviously he doesn't have the fire behind him right now, but like Andrade, he's having some of the best stuff of his career right now, and it's just like, man, Johnny, what are you doing with this character and stuff? And I don't know if they'll ever see him in that light on the main roster. If
they're not. Like, I think he's like, that time to me has passed. I thought they had an opportunity when he first came back, and he got an incredible crowd reaction in Toronto.
That was just because of us.
Yeah, but like I didn't see him having like main event aspirations on the main roster, or at least being seen at that level. But in terms of someone that could have been at your IC level, there was certainly a higher ceiling, but it just did not get there. The tag run was like, it was fine. It was, he got a place there, and at this point now, like, there's so many names, and I just don't see a Gargano crossing through. Like, there's going to be people that are role players, and I think that's sort of where he's at this point.
Like, I always have a soft spot for him. Like, I definitely, that NXT run when he was killing it back then, like, people still talk about him. It's just, they've done this with him a few times. Like, hey, look, Johnny, you're coming back to NXT because you were so good in NXT and you're not right now. This is basically what this story is. But yeah, sad Johnny. We see Myles Borne celebrating. Forgot to mention what happens after the match, because he's attacked by Dion Lennox. He lays him out with a chair, and probably said it was on site, bruh. I think he said that.
I hope he ran this by Saquon.
It's funny you say that, because we'll see if he did. So Ruca's backstage, and she sees Lola Vice, and she's like, "Wow, I did it, and I'm gonna do what I can to keep this title, and I'm so proud of myself and everything." And I think it's Soul. Sorry, no, it's Soul who says that she beat Zarya. Sorry, Lola's is a bit later. She says, "I can't believe it. I beat Zarya," and says that maybe she's going to focus on winning another championship. When Izzy Dame walks in and says, "You're not going to slide into another title shot. You're not the only one who wants gold." So Ruca possibly staying in NXT and feuding with Izzy Dame next.
Well, they're doing the match on Tuesday. They're going right to that on Tuesday. And yeah, like, as we think about it, like, I could see something where at least Ruca gets a title shot, and maybe you do a blow off with Zarya at some point if you do one more match with her or something. Like, if you're not in a rush to put Ruca on the main roster, then by all means, like, put her into the title picture. Like, she should be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're not going to put her on post-Mania main roster, then she should be going for the title.
And if I was someone of a level of a Soul Ruca, like, I don't know, like, that call-up's going to come. And it's really easy to say from a financial standpoint, oh, just stay in NXT. But, like, I think for her longevity, you might want some breathing room from all these call-ups that NXT has just gone through of like 6 more months in NXT, and go to the main roster when you are going to have that sort of priority when you move up. It's going to be very difficult as they're still finding roles for all these people. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, we go to our next match. Blake Monroe taking on Tatum Paxley, the Women's North American Championship match. If you were watching this with a friend who doesn't watch, or maybe you're a casual viewer, you may have been confused when they introduced Tatum as the champion, but Blake as the challenger, because everyone's favorite storyline in wrestling, the stolen title storyline, is taking place, where Blake has taken this belt and thinks that she is the champion. We get a video of a dollhouse, Tatum Paxley, not quite doing her best Sexy Red impression with some rhymes here, but talking about winning back her prize and taking back what belongs to me, and I'm going to smash the doll you pretend to be, and some other dollhouse stuff. But Tatum dressed up all scary with one contact lens, like an evil doll or something. So now she's like the evil doll come to life, and she's facing Blake, who's a Barbie doll. So it's
like
battle
Annabelle
of the
versus Barbie.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. Tatum right away attacks Blake. She's like, I want my belt back. She puts her in a gory special. Always love to see that move. Eventually turns it into a backslide for a 2 count. Blake is on the offense with a Hurricane Rana on the ramp, which looked pretty cool. And then Tatum starts to sell the shoulder, like, my shoulder's really hurting. And she's screaming at the ref and claiming that she had to pop it back in. Blake then gets her locked in a crossface, but Tatum gets out of it. There's some kicks to the head, a sling blade. There's super kicks back and forth. Booker says that the title is Blake, as someone in the chat right now says, 9 out of, what is it, 9 possessions, something like that. What is it? The
9
law?
tenths of the possession.
Yeah, whatever that is. Yeah, that thing. Eventually, both of them are in a submission, and they start kicking each other in the head. Tatum gets her up for a superplex and then a spine buster, but Blake kicks out of it. There's another sunset flip power bomb from Blake to the floor. 3 sunset bombs tonight. But gets her back in the ring and uses the belt and then the Mayday, but somehow she kicks out. So Tatum fights back, hits a rolling Liger kick, but then gets hit with the glamour shot DDT. But somehow Tatum kicks out of that as well. She fights back and eventually hits Blake with the cemetery drive and pins Blake to win or retain her North American title. 13 minutes, 21 seconds.
So there was one glaring spot near the end here where the turnbuckle pads are pulled off and Paxley gets kicked towards the bottom exposed buckle, and the camera is right there above the buckle. So when she goes down, she so misses the buckle, and she's got to still sell that she has hit her head on this exposed buckle because it's to lead to the glamour shot. They show a replay from like the opposite side where it's totally covered up that you would not know any better. But unfortunately, the live shot, it looked terrible. I found this one to be somewhat disappointing. And my comparison point, like looking at how hot that crowd got at the Performance Center for Vengeance Day with Izzy Dame and Tatum Paxley, like this came nowhere close to that. And they did the near falls at the end, but I just felt like this match, it didn't really translate to this audience. 13 plus minutes was maybe a little bit too long for this one as well, like this later in the show as well. Paxley's a character that works really well in the Performance Center, but I didn't really sense that same kind of like babyface fire from this crowd in St. Louis that were getting behind her in a big way.
Again, it's like the traveling crowd. Like if you're going somewhere, do these people buy tickets because they think it's WWE show, or do they actually watch the show? Do they know these characters? They didn't seem, I don't know, were they mic'd poorly? Like they just didn't seem too into the show considering other crowds and other shows that we watch when you watch a lot of wrestling. But if this was to happen in the Performance Center, they'd be losing their minds for Tatum Paxley beating Blake here.
Probably. Like she's one of the big favorites there at the Performance Center. And again, like that Izzy Dame match last month got just such a great reaction. And it's not like you watch the match on mute. It's like, it's not a considerable difference from this match, but like the heat of that made all the difference for the match at Vengeance Day.
Like Blake's run in NXT, I haven't loved really at all. Like I think she can still be a big deal in a big star in WWE, but everyone they've paired her with, it's the same copy paste of she's glamorous and this and that, and I'm definitely like I've been over it for a
Seems
while.
like a character they would have just nailed.
Yeah,
like it just seems so suited for the vignette heavy NXT production, and they do a lot of vignettes with her. It's, you know, you can't just place it all on like creative direction. Like some of it is just whatever it is not hit
boring.
Yeah, like honestly, like you looked at Blake Monroe and she seemed like someone to me that this woman will be fast tracked to the main roster.
Yeah.
And like, if you were to name like your top 3 women that are ready for the main roster, like maybe you're looking at a Sol Ruca, a Kendal Gray, a Kalani Jordan. Like I don't think I'm putting Blake Monroe at the top of that list of someone who's just, that has accomplished so much that she would be such an asset on the main roster. It just doesn't, like, there's, you know, it's not like it's this failure of a transition, but it hasn't lit the world on fire now.
No, like every feud. Yeah, I really want to, but it's not, something is not clicking. So I don't know if it's the same, like rinse repeat, that maybe try something different to see a different side of the character. I don't know. And the same with like Tatum, she's really popular on Tuesdays in the PC, but the character is still doing dollhouse stuff, which, you know, isn't necessarily my favorite, but she still has improved when it comes to the wrestling. But this was maybe my low point of this show, not my favorite match.
Yeah, I didn't think it stood out at all on the show.
This was it didn't stick out, so it was stuck on you is the rating you're giving this one.
Goodness.
I think. Yeah.
Everyone, we're just sending everyone to the Matt Damon IMDb, or they're ready to kill you and me.
So we go backstage to Dark State, and Cutler James is alive. For anyone who was wondering where he's been at, he is still here. He's part of this group. Dion, Osiris, Sugars, and who was the other one? Oh, Cutler. Yeah, right. I almost forgot him again. Sugars says, "Hey, it's really cool what you did, but why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you let us know that you were going to do that attack on Myles?" And he goes, "Oh, I wanted to do it on my own." And they say, "You're not a leader. We're not your lackeys. We're supposed to be in this together." And he says, "We are. And this Tuesday, we'll get back to what we do best." And Dark State strikes. Nobody's safe. So I'm assuming they're in some sort of multi-tag match or something, because that's what they're good at, I guess. But I kind of hope they break up. I want this group to disband. I don't like anything of this group. I don't think the guys in it are bad. I just think whatever they've been given direction-wise since the beginning is Temu, Kmart, Shield, and it continues to be that. And now I'm like, all right, well, Dion seems to be the one who's breaking out of it. Let's go with that. It
would seem they have the highest expectations for Dion Lennox, but I think Sugars is like the best personality of the bunch by a landslide. Lennox has gotten better. He has certainly gotten better since this group started. I thought it took a lot to transition, where he went from just like the nerd in the back to all of a sudden this badass in the group. But I think he's made that transition, and he has gotten better when you've seen like some of his earlier matches. Yeah. But to me, it's just like the charisma and personality Sugars has. I think that will take him a long way as well. But for the others, I just, if they were to break this group up, I don't know if where all of these guys would necessarily land if they were not with this group.
Like if you made Dion a singles and then two of them stay as a tag team or something. But I think since the beginning, they just don't explain what this group even is. Like they're just 4 guys who are angry and it's on site, bruh. And that's all they seem to say every week, and nobody's safe.
Bright State.
So they're just baby faces, and
they're glass half full guys after.
Like Teletubbies, like they're just bright and sunny, and they're all like, yeah, positivity. They tried that in WWE and it didn't work out. Well, I guess it did for a bit. Tuesday night, the speed tournament starts, and we have Sol Ruca versus Izzy, and then the meat match, Big Lads Wrestling, a triple threat. We get 3 insert videos from Jasper Troy, who says that Keanu and Briggs, you're close to destruction. Briggs says that he's told them he's the best big man in NXT, and calls himself the Man of Mayhem. I swear someone else called himself that. And then Keanu Carver says that you swing on me. Have you lost your damn mind? I'm like, crush both of you on Tuesday. So big men wrestling on a triple threat on Tuesday night. But are you a big fan of Jasper Troy?
He's been all right in this program. I thought the two had like a fine match on Tuesday. Like
way
I
better.
Really got into that. It's
way
like,
better than we thought it was going to be.
honestly, like this Jasper, since they got the speed title off him, I just thought that was such an awkward role for him. Like I understood what they were trying to do with him, but I just felt it was a really awkward way to get him over. And when he stood up for Booker, this has worked. Like he's a fairly good talker, and I have no doubt like this 3-way will probably be a lot of fun on Tuesday.
I think they've mastered like the multi-man matches, as we've seen with certain things. Like, and these three, you can hide each other. Like Briggs, obviously being the vet, but it should be fun. I thought that this match was going to be on this show, but they've pushed it to Tuesday. So a little NXT hangover for you. We see Hank Tank, Shiloh, and Tatum celebrating because she retained her
you
title.
Missed one.
Oh, and
EK Prosper.
Oh, that's gonna be hard for me.
Rolls off the tongue.
Like Davey gets mad when I call Kevin Owens Kevin. I mess people's names up all the time, and now I'm just gonna call him Eli Knight. And it's EK Prosper. Live long. So they're all celebrating when Vanity Project walked by, and they're like, "Oh, they're celebrating, but wait till we celebrate tonight." And I think Ricky says, "Like, look at one of the girls I matched with," and they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, fuck yeah." When Blake Monroe walks by, all sad and depressed, and they tried to talk to her on Tuesday, but she kind of blew them off. And she says, they say, "Hey, are you okay? And is there anything we can do for you? Anything we can get you?" And she's like, "No, well, actually, maybe there is something you can do for me." And then mentions, "Do you have a hairbrush?" And then they walk off. I have no idea what that was in reference to. And I'm not going to try to make some silly joke, but what the hell is she talking about? Hairbrush.
Maybe she has a pet.
Right. Well, I feel like what we said earlier with these guys, the Vanity Project mixing with Blake Monroe, like it kind of goes hand in hand with them being heels and dickheads, I guess. I don't know. Will this work?
Well, they could certainly try something, and we're at a point now where maybe Monroe will be the one to benefit from this relationship more than vice versa.
It's classic WWE stable. If you have multiple people in your group, you need at least one woman. It's like a beer league or something. You can't have a faction without a woman star in your group. And maybe she'll add something to their group as well, but we shall see. We go to our main event of the evening, a fatal 4-way match for the NXT World Championship. The champion Joe Hendry defending against Tony D'Angelo, Ricky Saints, and Ethan Page. We have Ricky coming out with the paparazzi during his entrance here.
This wasn't quite Eminem level. He didn't do the splits.
Right, yes. He's got like all these guys around him when he's doing his big pose. Ethan Page's entrance has a bunch of Canadians here.
Just sure, yeah. A bunch of Canadian flags.
Why not? They're in the States. They're at the gate to the west.
Yeah.
Here in St. Louis. Just
these kind of just felt like mid-afternoon. They were like, we don't have any like big entrances for a big show. It's like, what could we just throw together real quick? Get some extras to be paparazzi and get me 4 flags. Stat.
Yeah. It wasn't the most big wrestling fight feel with these.
And they're like, well, what do we have for Joe Hendry? We're just gonna do this on. That's
but he's the champion.
He's gonna do the spin, and that's enough.
So he does the spin. That's his entrance. Tony doesn't really get a big entrance either, but he's got new music lately, so I guess it's kind of like the Inception theme a little bit. This theme song, it's this big epic. So Joe makes his entrance, the last one in, and Vic just goes, "All right, Booker, I'll just give it to you. Go for it." And Book just starts singing along to Joe Hendry. Wave your hands from side to side. He's getting him over. This guy could be up on the main roster with Booker T's help.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Booker T.
Yeah, Booker T could be on the main roster if he plays his cards right. But Joe Hendry, I guess people in this crowd were happy to see him here. But Joe, fatal 4-way match.
Lost to St. Louis's own at WrestleMania last year, so I'm sure they're familiar.
True, right, yes. Yeah. This match starts off, and it's Ethan and Ricky who are besties and trying to double team. They beat up Tony, and then Joe sees. So then Joe's in control. He hits a double suplex to Ricky and Ethan at one point. They try to double team Joe again, and they try to pin him when they realize, like, hey, wait, I'm trying to pin him. Oh, you're trying to pin him, but I'm trying to pin him. At one point, they both pin him at the same time, and the ref allows this.
Why did he count?
Why did the ref count this? What would have happened here? Like a leg hold?
We just did a disputed finish like this on Tuesday. So why would you even be engaging in a count here? Like, what would be the end result here?
The title split in half. Yeah. Michelle McCool, Layla, that kind of thing. Eventually, though, they go to set up the Power and Glory, like the superplex, and then
I like this spot. I thought this was like a clever take on the Power and Glory spot. I don't think we've ever seen this where it was you shift and then you take out your partner here
who did the move.
Yeah. So Saints gave the superplex, and then Paige, instead of splashing Hendry, turns and splashes Saints. It was a nice spot for the story they were doing.
So yeah, this is now the start of like these two showing that they're not friendly during this match. And Ethan hits the splash and then kind of laughs it off and goes, "Oh, sorry," and then tries to pin Joe. And then right after this, Ricky gets up and spears Ethan and goes, "Oh, sorry," as he walks into an AA from Joe. Tony's in there with a giant spear, and then at one point, Tony, I think, is it both Ethan and Ricky put Joe in a single leg crab at the same time. And again, the ref is like, yeah, this is fine. It doesn't matter. I guess we see more of that than double pins in wrestling. But Tony then breaks this up with a spear. So they start to beat up Tony again. They take him out on the outside, the Revolution DDT, and then the Twisted Grin. And then Joe does the dive to the outside, taking them both out. Eventually, it's the standing ovation to Tony, but he kicks out of that as well. And then there's suplexes to everyone. Italian Kurt Angle right here with overheads and Germans and everything. But eventually, Joe gets speared by Tony, and then again, but he kicks out. Eventually, there's a Revolution DDT to Joe, but Ethan breaks it up, and Ricky's pretty pissed because he was clearly about to win the match, but it's Ethan. So they start to fight ringside when they I think it's Ethan who sets up a power slam on like the commentary cover and then goes for what looks like an ego's edge off the steps through the commentary desk. But as he sets this up, Tony D runs up it, spears both of these guys through the commentator desk. Vic's candy is going everywhere. He rolls back in the ring. He's left alone with Joe and hits his version of the standing O, the dead to rights.
Yeah, these guys have like the exact same finisher.
A lot of people do. Yeah, again, finisher class in the Performance Center. It's something we need. Tony D'Angelo pins Joe Hendry and wins the NXT Championship in 16 minutes, 2 seconds. Phase 2, Phase 3.
Yes, we're moving on to Phase 3 from a guy who came in at the 2.0 era. So now we move to Phase 3.
Phase 5.
I think D'Angelo hit 105 spears in this match, if I was keeping count accurately. The desk spot got over really big with this crowd. I mean, just break some tables, break some desks. It's going to work with any crowd in WWE. D'Angelo wins. I guess, like, you know, they had been building toward D'Angelo as sort of the
Sting.
He was kind of modeled after like Sting, like the guy that was like the silent guy in the rafters in the background who had lost everything, and now he was back. Felt like a little fast to get the belt onto him, but I mean, doesn't matter. It's, you know, something fresh to put D'Angelo on the with the belt. He can certainly feud with Saints, with Paige. You could do. I don't know where Hendry necessarily goes after this. Like, I don't see him moving on quite yet. So that's sort of your main event scene for the moment coming out of this. I could see some mixing and matching with these four and maybe getting some other fresh guys in there. But it was a very good match. I thought by the end of the show, I thought this and the women's match like were ones that I would put at like the high end of this show overall. And you got a title change at the end, so you did do something of significance at the end, and pinning the champion too. So, it was like, again, it was a fine show, but I can't say like there was a whole lot to write home about after this, even though there was news coming out of this, and a title change is significant to go this way with D'Angelo? How do you think about D'Angelo as like your champion of the brand? Does he feel ready?
Yeah, like, okay, a few weeks ago, I mean, definitely when he's come back as this character, like the vigilante character, and it's like, okay, you're coming back. I felt like he did this big promo, and I thought they kind of whiffed on it, and then they went to totally do like the silent killer kind of thing. Like, okay, how about you talk a lot less and just attack people?
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, look, they ditched the over the top cartoonish mafia character for this more serious, that I thought that the reason why was because they're going to try main event level with Tony D. And that's clearly where they went with that. I just felt over the last few weeks that Ricky and Ethan were once again showing like the talent that they have of like, oh, wait, should we just go back to one of these guys? Specifically Ethan Page. Like, if he is not on the Raw after Mania, like he has to be called up. He should not be on NXT anymore. Like, he is the one, the number one draft pick, I would say, is Ethan Page from NXT above everyone else, because he doesn't need to be on this show anymore. I'm happy for Tony, because we watched him and it was a big what if of like, would they try that silly mafia character on the main roster? And I think it would. I don't know if they should have, but like what this is, how far is this going to go? Where he's just like, a vigilante type thing. I don't know where the legs go with this. So I'm happy for him, because he's
in the same boat to me as like a Jacy Jayne, like 2.0 originals.
Yeah.
Who it's like, like, to me, like, this should absolutely be like the last year you're looking at these two in NXT. But like, I feel Jayne eventually gets that call up, and D'Angelo, you've put in all this time that he probably gets that opportunity, but those two are like far from guarantees. You don't know who's going to click on the main roster. Like, some people do, some people don't, and it's not always easy to predict either. But they have been in this system for a very long time.
Again, I'm happy for this dude, and like this match was fine. I wouldn't say this was one of the better.
It was a good four-way. They're very good at laying out these multi-persons. Whether it was the three-way at the beginning of the show, the four-way here. Like, it's cramming a lot of people onto these shows, but they map them out very well, and I get it. You want to have all your big names on your supposed big show of the year as well. So, like, I didn't really have any complaints about this match. It was not, it's not the best match of the day I saw after seeing Sakura Genesis. But I'd
say downsizing. That's what that probably was. That's what I would give that fail four-way. I was not one of my favorite matches on the show. Again, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate this show by any means. I just thought nothing necessarily got to that next level or that next gear. And I think you said it really early. Like, I think the match on Tuesday between Lola and Gray was better than the matches that we got on this show tonight.
It just felt like, even if you want to go all the way back, like from Vengeance Day to the not roadblock event on Tuesday, like those were kind of like either better shows or bigger shows or better crowds. Like, those felt like, to me, the bigger ones. Like, my hang up about this one this year, and it's not like this was critical. It just felt like we're just stating, like, this is our biggest show of the year. But it really, like, part of it is like Stand and Deliver is the show that it's part of Mania weekend. It's in a major arena. It's the biggest crowd of the year. It's fans from all over the world. It's a very easy explanation of why it's the biggest show of the year. This is just, it's Stand and Deliver, and therefore it's our biggest show of the year. It wasn't even your biggest show of the week, realistically.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the NXT PLEs, NXT as a whole is a weird, island of misfit toys sometimes, but I feel like the PLEs, it feels like this all the time. Like, there's some good stuff, and you could see glimpses of people who they might in the future become pretty big stars in WWE and whatnot. But for the most part, the last few years, the PLEs have not necessarily been must watch. Like, nothing is like, I think last year they had that triple threat with Trick, Oba, and Javon, and I'd say that match was better than any of the matches on this show here tonight. But still, like, since then, NXT hasn't necessarily had the like most, you must watch this, you have to watch this, you can't miss this. It doesn't feel like that for the most part. But
and another part is, as much as like WrestleMania is being focused on, they have both SmackDown and Raw at the T-Mobile Arena, and I mean, Raw is ahead of SmackDown, but SmackDown is really struggling to move tickets for that Friday night. And I can't imagine what this show would be at the T-Mobile Arena over the weekend if you were to run that. Even if you were to get a smaller location for NXT. Like, I think this would have been a really tough ticket to sell. Even here in St. Louis, like, the lowest price was $105 to get in for this show. So like, I think this would have been a really tough sell in Vegas this year, on top of it, when even Smackdown and Raw have plenty of tickets still available.
I just remember, again, WrestleMania 40 weekend, where the Stand and Deliver was in the arena, right? And it had the biggest gate for an NXT show. But I just remember,
it did like $1 million gate. Yeah.
But being there live, half the people who were there didn't know anything about NXT. They were just there because it was part of the buy one get one free package thing. So they definitely moved. Like, you could not imagine trying to book this show in an arena like the T-Mobile. I looked at WrestleTix and it said today's event here, Stand and Deliver, was 1,771 people. So
which is kind of what the factory holds. It's not like they're running a big venue here. Like, so, I mean, it didn't really have that feel of like the big show of the year, as opposed to, it was just, hey, it's been 4 weeks since our last PLE and this is our next one. And you also had like this fairly noteworthy TV show earlier this week on top of it. So I thought it was like an average show. I didn't really have a ton negative to say about it, but I also didn't have like a ton of like, man, there isn't one match on here I would say absolutely go out of your way to see it. You'll enjoy the women's 3-way. You'll enjoy the men's title match, the 4-way at the end. And there's some good wrestling mixed in throughout the show. But at the end of it, it felt like it was a 2.5-hour wrestling show that if you were looking forward to watching it, like, you're not wasting your time, but it was not. It's such a competitive landscape to put on shows that people are going to go out of their way to see. And I don't see this one having a ton of like word of mouth coming out of it.
And I mean, in general, as wrestling fan, I mean, I know we've got listeners from all over the place, and we got a big community here in Toronto and wrestling events and stuff. And it feels like for the last while that not a lot of people are watching NXT. Like the people I talk to, people used to give me the weird looks when I would say I was covering NXT long time ago. And then it got popular, and then people were like, "Oh, this show's cool." But now, when I tell people, "Oh, yeah, I'm watching NXT or this and that," they're like, "What? Like, why?" Is a question I get asked quite often. But it's not my favorite show week to week. But there's still glimpses of like things, and the part that I enjoy about it is like, okay, well, I think this person is going to go on and be a big star. Like, okay, Kendal Gray should go on and be a big thing, and we watch it here tonight. We're like, okay, we see where we can go with that, and I feel like, with the call-ups post-Mania, we should get some call-ups on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, whatever, but then hire new people. Like, the Evolve thing is clearly working. If you got like this Kendal Gray, who's become some sort of like an overnight success pretty quickly. You got these young guys like the Vanity Project. Keep going. Stop doing the tennis players or volleyball players or whatever. Bring in more of the wrestlers, because I think that's working.
I always look at like NXT for that reason as one of the more interesting shows to follow, because like, I think at its core, you want new blood constantly circulating in. And yeah, there are going to be some ebbs and flows to that. And there's maybe more of it on a downside, because you just lost so much talent over the last 6 months. But like, I think it's a great breath of fresh air. Like, this is a show that at its core is sort of like a old school territory where you're not going to have people sticking around here for a decade or more. It's going to always be turning over. And it's like 4 years, we're talking about people that are like, man, this is kind of like, that's the long end of an NXT run. Whereas a main roster, like 4 years goes by so quickly, and you're there for years and years and years. And you sometimes want to see that turnover, and you'll get that with NXT. Like, 6 months from now, it's going to look semi-different, and a year from now, it'll look a lot different than probably tonight's lineup is. And it should. That's by its function.
Yeah.
That's how NXT should be working. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. We have 2 tiny pieces of feedback. I'll read them quickly. Frank Sulo, who writes in, "The boyhood dream has come true. Finally, the ex-Don is at the top of the mountain. NXT Italy forever." Thank you, Frank. And then Sean writes in, "That was a perfect show. 10 out of 10. no notes. Wow.
Oh,
Sean
okay.
really loving this.
I stand corrected. Apparently, that was the show of the year.
Show of the year.
We just saw. So,
Well,
man,
Sean stood and delivered.
If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed it. But
yeah,
there you have it.
There you go, everyone. Thanks for listening. And if you made it this far, appreciate. Again, search Poisonrana Pod in your Insta, Twitter, whatever you use, podcast feeds, YouTube, and check out all the other stuff that we got going on. And John, I know you'll be back on this very feed in not tomorrow. There's nothing tomorrow, so you got a day off. Monday Night Raw. A few weeks left till WrestleMania, and then postwrestling.com has a really big WrestleMania week. I heard you talking about all the shows and content that we're putting out in a few weeks leading up to that. So very excited.
Yes, we're going live every day WrestleMania week, and I think we'll be bugging you and Davie to come on one of those days.
Absolutely, always welcome to. I'll talk about what some of the indie stuff or whatever else is going on the WrestleMania weekend, or my disdain for Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll and whatever else WWE is doing. But everyone out there, thank you. If you liked what you hear, you can check out tons of our other stuff. Davie and I will link up in Vancouver. We have a Patreon where we do tons of other shows. We will be doing some Snap Ranas. We'll be doing some live shows from wherever we end up, whether it's Mystery Wrestling or AEW Dynasty. We will be doing some content through that. But if you want to hear our WrestleMania 17 review, plus tons of other movie reviews and so much more, retro NXT reviews, movies, all the stuff, patreon.com/poisonrana. And John, thank you. We haven't had you on Up Next. I don't think ever. I think this is the first time.
Tuesday is like the only night I don't record something. So it's I listen though. So from afar.
Appreciate you.
Well, thank you for the invite, Braden. I was happy to join you, and I'm sure we'll link up at some point in the future, maybe to rekindle some SNL discussion or
SNL UK.
Best movie ever, Matt Damon.
Woo, yeah. We'll review Ocean's 13 is what we'll do, and Stuck on You. Thank you, everyone, all the NXT friends and the postmarks out there. That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye, and be safe. Congrats, Tony D.
Now go watch